All right, I'm going to get started. Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of Revealed with Dr. KP. I am Dr. KP. I'm your host and your friend. And for those of you who don't know what Revealed is a live stream. And so while some of you may be watching this after the fact, I really want to encourage you to come on the live and join us live every third Friday of the month, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, 12 a.m. West Africa time. What is Revealed, you may ask? Well, let me tell you. Revealed is a live show where we actually talk to real people about their plastic surgery journeys. We learn from them how the recovery went, how their consultation went, what the entire experience was like, what they learned from it, and would they do it again. It really is a show that is about educating, it's about uplifting, it's about understanding. And so there are 3 ways that you can be a part of this experience that I so enjoy. So one is that you yourself come on the live, you share your own story. And if you can't make it to the live for some reason, you can always be a part of it by just hitting up my DMs, sending me a message and saying that you want to share your story. Maybe not live, maybe you want to pre-record it, as some people do, as I've done in the past. And that is your prerogative. But ultimately, you can share your own story. You can, and with that, let me actually put the link up so that you too can share your own story. If you don't have a story to tell, or you are too scared to share your story, which hopefully you will never be, but if that's not your thing, then please, you can comment, you can ask questions of me here, of the people that we speak to here as well, to better understand kind of what they've gone through and what plastic surgery journeys are like. And you can also like and subscribe so that you can be a part of this too. I've been watching a lot of Jessie Wu lately, so I I have this urge to say you too can be a part of Black, but obviously that is Jessie Wu and I love her, but that is not me. But yes, I would like you too to be a part of this experience with me, okay? Tonight, I have a story to tell, not my personal story, but a beautiful woman's story that I want to share with you guys. And so she decided to pre-record. And so we're going to play her story now. Hi there.
Hi, morning.
Let me know if you can't hear
it. For joining me.
Absolutely.
So as you know, this is all about you and your story. So I don't want to waste time, but I know you have kids that I have sleeping right now. So I want to maximize your ability to that too. So we'll get right into it. So Shadá, what have you had done?
So I've had an abdominoplasty with lipo to my flanks.
Great. And how long ago was that?
Actually, today makes it 8 weeks post-op.
Oh, so you're still going through it.
I'm still going through it, yes.
Okay. All right. Was your surgeon a board certified plastic surgeon?
Yes, absolutely he was. And I did my research. for quite a few weeks before I found him. He had great Google reviews, and just the pictures itself for, people of color, that was pretty important to me. So that's why I chose him.
Okay. Okay. About how much did you end up paying?
So, so I'm active duty Navy, and they covered a portion of my procedure because it was a paniculectomy I was covered for. So I just paid the extra. So what I paid for was the actual muscle repair. So $5,500.
Okay. That's
Mhm.
fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
The whole
And
surgery though was like
yeah,
15,000 was what I was quoted for.
including anesthesia and the OR as well.
Everything. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. What were your initial motivations for getting it done?
So my son, he's gonna be 15 in a couple weeks. He was a big baby. He was my first. So it was at that point. I mean, I had no idea what muscle separation was,
Yeah.
or any of that stuff, right? So here we are, 14 years later. I had twins, and I'm in pelvic floor therapy because
Congratulations.
twins. Thank you so much. And my therapist is like, I think you have a pretty big separation. I've always had like a little pouch, right? Always was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm just gonna work it out and it'll go away. But then doing more research, I figured out that it was actually the diastasis recti, and some people need some help with getting that taken care of. And I was one of those candidates. So upon the therapist letting me know, I had my doctor confirm, and then a general surgeon, and then a plastic surgeon. So I went through like all the channels,
Yeah.
and I've always been very active. And then once like I see that I couldn't like fix it myself, then I ventured into having the help done. And it was more so, it got to the point where like I couldn't even bend over and like tie my boots for work. So it was becoming a nuisance. And just in like general things as far as like how my uniform fits, how clothes fit, like I have to go up a different size and other parts don't fit. And it was more so for functionality, more so than like, oh, I want to look like this model, you know? And it was great. I'll just say that it was great, the turnout.
No, I'm glad you said that. So, so two things. I know that functionality is part of justification for a tummy tuck, for
Right.
whether you pay fully cash or there's some reimbursement from the Navy or from insurance.
Right.
But the way that you said it made me feel like, oh, girl, you don't need to justify. Like,
I'm documenting everything on TikTok, and then there's people who, they say things and then they're like, oh, this is wrong, that's wrong. And I'm just like, hey, this is for me. This wasn't for me to, pretend that I didn't have surgery and I am just a fit person had 3 kids, no stomach. Like, no, this was really just functionality, and whatever else comes with it, I'm grateful for.
yeah, no, I do understand that, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, we live in a world now where when you open yourself up like that and are vulnerable to the world,
Yeah.
you're also opening yourself up for criticism about
Mhm.
what you've done and the reasons that you've done it, and it's unnecessary, and you know that
Right.
already. I'm not educating you,
Right.
but really and truly, I'll talk about the science behind that, but there's no need to ever have to justify to anybody why someone has
Right.
something done.
Absolutely.
And I don't want anyone to ever feel like they have to.
Right.
But because we live in a society where everything needs to have a reason behind it, people feel now that it can't just be that I didn't like my nose.
Right. And
It
that's
now
fine for
has to
them,
be it caused me
Yeah.
distress and I
Right.
couldn't breathe and blah. And it's like, no, you just didn't like your nose, and that's fine.
Right. That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay too. That's okay
Yeah.
too. Not
That's
everyone
what I
has to go.
said. Yeah.
Yeah. So the science behind it, I totally agree with your surgeons. Um, rectus diastasis is the separation of the muscles that
Yeah.
make up that six pack. We come with it, and when we are born, they are born together like this, and they're
Hmm.
married like this, and that's how they stay. And there are things that we do throughout our lives that change that. So when we have kids, our belly obviously grows as women, and that those muscles kind of diverge.
Yeah.
Same thing when we gain weight, the muscles diverge. And it's really, really difficult. Some women are very lucky that they can actually have them pull back really easily,
Right.
part of the snapback.
Yep.
But others are not. And it can really be a functional issue. It can it greatly impacts core strength.
Yes.
So the ability to even like get up from laying down or get up from sitting down can be an issue.
What a struggle.
And when you decrease core strength, you increase what you're putting on your back, the load you're putting on your back, and so that can cause back pain too. So it can be a real issue. And historically, I think women have been told it'll come back, you'll snap back, just work it out, do a bunch of crunches and obliques, and you'll be fine. And that's not necessarily true for everybody.
Right.
So amen to you for having the motivation and doing
it. Thank you.
What were your expectations?
It's funny you say that. So I was looking at all the videos, all the pictures, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna look like that. But I quickly deduced that that's that person's story and it's not going to be mine. So for me, I was just like, okay, I'm going to be able to get right back in the gym and I'm going to be able to pick my daughters up. No problem. The back pain's going to go away and I'm going to recover really fast because I was a very active person, but that humbled me very quickly. I would say that, now that I'm 8 weeks post-op, I can say that getting up is easier. I don't have to have my son pull me up, or I don't have to turn on all fours and get up. So I have some of that core strength back. And it was so weird, feeling my abs engaged. I was like, what is that? I haven't felt that in years.
Yeah.
But then, my uniform, putting my uniform on every day, it just fits so much better. And I'm able to turn and make these kind of sudden movements that I couldn't do before. The back pain has significantly decreased. I still have some, but it's not fully gone yet. But functionality wise, I would say my expectations are being met. I know I still have a very long way to go. So I'm just waiting on that year mark to be okay, I'm 1 year post-op. I should be able to do all the things now and back to where I was before. But I know it's gonna be a journey. But so far it's been okay. It really hasn't been that terrible.
Good. Tummy tuck, I always say that 6 weeks for any surgery is really what is needed for full recovery to feel like you're somewhat normal again. But tummy tuck, I think, is one of the harder ones to get through. There are so many things you do not realize that you do with your core.
Right.
And so when that is, messed with, as we do with tummy tuck, it can be a really, really difficult recovery. So I know that first few weeks was probably really, really tough. I can only imagine that.
Definitely was.
Don't name your surgeon, but describe your interactions with him before surgery.
Okay. Before surgery, so we had the consult, and off the bat, I'm very big on my vibes when I meet you. If I get off-putting vibes, then I will very much so shy away. Very headfast in that decision. That was the first thing. I'm if I go in there and the vibes feel off, then I'm not doing this with this guy.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, very comfortable. The ability to ask any kind of question, no matter how outlandish I might have thought it was, he was open to it. I did have my husband there with me, so what I couldn't think of, he thought of for me, because he's very that's how his brain works. The comfortability, though, was kind of what got me. And he performed the surgery on his wife so that he also knows how personable it is, because he had someone very close to him have the surgery as well.
Right.
And he performed it. Excuse me. So that was that was one of the biggest things that I think like solidified that I wanted to go with him. I wasn't embarrassed like by, you know, how anything looked, even though I had to like bear it all for him to see everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I mean, at this point, I mean, I've had 3 kids, all by C-section. So the shame portion of like having to expose my body to someone I don't know, that's kind of out the window, honestly. And
Yeah.
with the profession, you know, medical field as well, like I understand that, you know, some things have to be done a certain way. But I mean, the consult is definitely what made me like, all right, we're going to go with this guy, because it seems like he's very knowledgeable. He answered all of our questions, definitely, you know, board certified. That was definitely key. And the fact that he's had a lot of people of color that he had operated on was also a big factor for me.
I love all of that. I love that he made you feel comfortable. I love that you also reflected and said the vibe has to be right, otherwise we're not doing this. And I think
Right.
there are a lot of people in your shoes who find the right surgeon based on the Google reviews and the Yelp reviews and the befores and afters and the, you know, the accolades the surgeons put on their website, and they in their mind fix themselves and say, hey, this is the best person to do this, right? This is the best person around to do this. And then they go in and they have this feeling of like,
Right.
okay, but then they're like, okay, but I'm still gonna give you my tens of thousands of dollars and trust you with my body, even though the vibe wasn't there. And that to me seems entirely scary.
Yeah.
And unimaginable.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot necessarily relate to that, but I did have a surgery, and it was an open heart, open lung surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in my 30s, and by then I was a plastic surgery resident, so I had a plastic surgery mentor and attending and everything like that. And I had asked her, I was like, "Can you close my wound after they do the cardiac and the lung part?" Because I, you know, God bless them, they know cardiac and lungs, but you know, like skin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she agreed to do that. And then my cardiac surgeon, the day before surgery, came into my hospital room and said, I heard you want so-and-so to close your wound. I feel very insulted. And, you know, I've been doing this for how many years, and I know how to close wounds too. And I literally said to him, and I said, please don't spit in my wound. Like, I know you're mad at me,
Right.
but I'm trusting you, but please do not do the equivalent of spitting in someone's food when you're a waiter. Like, don't do that. You know, I hope it'll be okay. I apologize for insulting you. That wasn't my intention, but I trust her with closing the skin. It all worked out very well. He never told me again that he was insulted, so that was great. But there was a moment where I was like, I know he's the best, right? But this is scary. Like, I'm about to go into surgery, and this man does not like me. The vibe is not vibing. And so, but anyway, it's fine. But yeah, I think it's really amazing to me how many people will say, even though they didn't feel super great meeting their surgeon in person, they still went through with it based on other factors. And I feel like that's number one factor. And that you will still find that there's so many plastic surgeons in the country, so many plastic surgeons in the world, and you will find one who is equally credentialed, equally talented, has great reviews, befores and afters, all that. And when you meet them, you also feel kind of like more of a personal connection with them.
Yeah.
And if you're about to go through what's going to be pretty much a year of a relationship, more, give or take, you may see them a little bit more, you may see them a little bit less throughout that year, but you will see them for basically a year. I want to feel like when I see you, I like you, and I'm not like, okay, looking at you sideways.
Right.
There was something else you said, but I'm gonna think of it because I can't remember now. What do your friends and family think about what you have done?
So my husband's opinion was kind of like the most important, if other than mine, you know, if I should say so. to my surprise, he was fully supportive. And this was his deduction, right? He said, this is what you think you feel you need to have for you to get back to kind of where you were before. Full support. 100%.
That's awesome. Why were you surprised though?
Because he's always said to me, one of the things that he's attracted by or to me by was like my confidence level and like my kind of like don't really care what the outside has to think about me. But he did say he did say this, you're not just like pulling just this random surgery like out of thin air, you know, for just because. And even if you were wanting to have something done just because, that's fine. But this, like, it just makes sense. Like, you carried my babies, like, this is something that you feel like you need to have to do to make yourself get back to 100, and that's okay. So I was like, you know, after I have the surgery, you're going to have to do a lot that I can't do. And he was like, that's fine. I was like, great, let's schedule this thing. But I've always been a person that kind of acts. If I make a decision, I'm going to do it. It's just kind of what it is. And I don't really need my friends and family to say, hey, that's a good idea. You go ahead and do that. Because I feel like I'm going to do this. And if I need to learn from this, I will learn from it. And if it's something I shouldn't have done, then, you know, same kind of thought process. But they were very supportive because I've been voicing, I voice a lot of my opinions to them. Like, they're my sounding board. So they know I was very unhappy with, you know, the way that, you know, my clothes fit, my uniform fits, the functionality, like I can't do certain things because of it. So when I did bring up that, hey, I can have this, you know, fixed for a small sum of money, they were all for it. Like, you know, do what you need to do to make yourself feel, you know, feel good. So.
No, that's really important. That's really important. Yeah. It's a tough struggle, no matter whether you have the best recovery or the worst recovery. So it's always really good to have people there for you.
Yes.
Have you had any complications so far?
I wouldn't even call it really a complication. And I think this happens for a lot of different people that have it. So the sutures, a lot of them kind of like push out. So I've had on one part of where my drain came out, like on that side, just like a little piece that kind of was uncomfortable, but it was removed and healed up really quickly. So I wouldn't even call it a complication. I don't think I really had any complications at all.
Yeah, spinning sutures is what it sounds like you're describing, and that can happen with any, really with any surgery. We typically, for the body at least, we typically tend to use absorbable stitches, which take time to absorb, but sometimes the body in the meantime doesn't like them and then just kind of pushes them and forces them out. So that, that can happen. Would you do it again? I know it's really soon, but would you do it again?
Would I do it again? Without a second thought.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
Absolutely.
And if you're, do you have a daughter?
So my first is a boy and I have 2 girls.
Oh, great. So if your daughters or your son asked you to get a similar procedure, how would you advise them or what would you say to them?
So I feel like I'm very supportive. I would instruct them, do your research. I mean, I would also help them because I feel like there's things that you only know the front side of, and the after you don't really know until you have to go through it. So one thing that I learned after was the post-op care, lymphatic massages. Some people are like, oh, I didn't get any. And then some are like, no, you need to get the massages and I realized like it definitely does help a lot. So to instill that difference of making sure you don't just go on social media and listen to social media, like listen to your doctor.
Yeah.
Okay. And always go by those instructions, but also pay attention to your body as well. I don't think I'd ever tell them not to do something that's, I wouldn't say not necessary. It has to be like a certain thing. Like if they were at that point where they needed a tummy tuck or of some sort, or a surgery that was kind of like necessary for them, that I would be supportive of that. Just making sure they do their research.
No, good. Good. What concerns or anxieties did you have during the healing process, or have you had so far?
Honestly, I'm everything that my doctor told me to expect. I've been like seeing, so I haven't really been surprised by anything. Like I do feel like this different nerve things flying around every now and then. I was told that my scar is gonna go through a bunch of different changes. It was really dark. Now it's lightening up a little bit. It's getting flat. Um, I feel like within my core, I feel certain things happening there. There there really hasn't been anything happening that I wasn't prepared for. I would just say that. Um, until you actually have the swelling part happen, you don't know what to expect with that, but that was expected as well.
Yes, so the swelling part can, and especially for tummy tuck, it can last a long time. And it's
Hmm.
not, people think, oh, it's just going to be your belly, but it's your junk too. Like your vagina,
Right,
your
right,
pants, your scrotum, they'll be swollen, and they will be swollen for a lot longer than you think they should
yes,
be, but it's all normal.
right.
I don't mean to call it junk. It's not junk. It's
No, no,
it's
I understand. Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing that you mentioned too, so the nerves, we definitely cut the nerves when we lift that skin up and lay it back
Hmm.
down. And so
Hmm.
the typical stages are you feel numbness for a while, it can take months, and then you
Hmm.
start to feel maybe some pins and needles and some
Yes.
sharp pains that you didn't think you would be
Hmm.
feeling, and then all of a sudden you eventually get to the part where it's
Yeah.
normalizing.
Hmm.
But the whole process of the nerves regrowing can definitely take a while for sure. What have you learned from all this?
The biggest thing I think I've learned was your journey and your experience is your own. That was like the biggest takeaway, because I felt like when I was doing like some of my research, I definitely did like look at a lot of the TikTok. I just, be able to search just that hashtag, and it brought up a ton of videos, right? And I feel like a lot of the videos that I saw was like the prep, and then I'm standing up straight. This is great. And I'm like, whoa, what happened in between?
Yeah.
So me taking out my drain myself, like a lot of people are like, oh my God, why would you do that yourself? And I was like, well, I spoke with my doctor and we decided, like, I used to work in the medical field myself, like not in like as a nurse, but like I shadowed a lot of nurses. I worked in the
Mhm.
ER for a bit, and I'm very comfortable in the like doing these kind of things to myself. He did make sure and say, hey, make sure you're sterilized, these materials and what have you. And it was a shocker that I did it myself, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's so normal to me. But um I think, yeah, I didn't think I would ever do that for myself, but some people do, some people don't. And I think that's what kind of makes your experience so unique, because you just never know what audible you're going to get thrown. um
Right.
but I think the biggest takeaway for me was that, like, don't expect your body to look like someone else's body, or your process to look like anybody else's but your own. um I have a size like 35-inch waist, so I'm not like super small hair and super wide down there. So I don't think I'd ever expect to look like, someone who has that sort of build. So that was also like another takeaway for me, like not to expect someone else's results, and kind of tailor my experience to myself.
Absolutely. I think in the age of TikTok and Instagram, everyone thinks that anything that we put on the socials is reproducible.
Right.
And that if you look like that, if Kris Jenner looks like that, then I too can look like that. And
Right.
it's really like, no, they have different DNA. You
Right.
have different DNA, and um, your individual results will vary. And that is
Hmm.
the small print that maybe we should emphasize even more in this day and
Yes.
age of like TikTok and Instagram. But it really, really is true when it comes to recovering, when it comes to healing, when it
Hmm.
comes to results. Every individual is very, very different. And no matter
Right.
how many times I do the same procedure on 10 people, those
Hmm.
10 people will look drastically different and will have reported different, different outcomes and different
Yeah.
things. So everyone has their own journey. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Last question. Do you think plastic surgery is addictive?
As someone who's only had like this one plastic surgery, I think I might be biased in saying no, only because I've had this one procedure, and I don't think like I'm not a kind of like nitpicky person to be like, oh, I want that fixed and I want that fixed. And because I did toy with the idea of maybe I should go and get my, my boobs done or something. And I was like, you've never had an issue with your boobs before. So why are you even thinking
Right.
about that now? So to a
Right.
point, maybe yes, but I'm gonna stick with the heavy no. As for me, it was, like I said, more functionality than anything, and the aesthetic that came along with it, the flatter stomach,
Yeah.
was a plus with it. So
Beautiful. Well, thank you very much again. I know that you have 2 new beautiful daughters, and
thank you.
they have been keeping you up. So I really, I really
Yes,
appreciate your being able
yes,
to be here and to join me and to have a
absolutely.
lovely talk.
Yes.
If there was one thing you wanted to let the world know, that you haven't, that already, that I haven't asked you, what would that be?
I would just say in more in detail, just account for your post-op recovery process, because we are very hard on ourselves. As I was trying to like do laundry and be in the kitchen, a week post-op, and my husband and my son were very adamant, like, you need to get your butt back in bed. So I would just impress upon you, if you are having a surgery, that like a major surgery like that, please, 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 please take the recommended time that they say for you to just relax and let yourself get back to a good point before you just jump back into the everyday life,
Yeah,
because it's very important. Those first few weeks of your post-op recovery is vital.
absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Thanks again. Have a great
Absolutely. Thank
day.
you. Thanks for having me. All right.
Shadé was so lovely to speak to. I had such a fun time hearing her story. There seems to be individual themes as I do this more, as we have more revealed episodes. And last time it was definitely about giving yourself grace, but I think the one thing that I loved about Shadé saying is that everyone's journey is individualized. There are a lot of commonalities, which is why I think Revealed is a very important show, and it's a show that I really love doing. But truly, everyone does have an individual result and has an individual journey through healing, healing after surgery. Well, this is the part where I encourage you to join the live and share your story. You may not be ready to do it today, but you have an opportunity to do it next time. We are going to be back here next month, the third Friday of the month. Let me look at what date that is. The third Friday of next month is August 15th. So we will be back here. Same time, same place, same bat channel. So 4 p.m. 4 p.m. was 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and 12 a.m. West Africa time. Now, at some point, I may ask you guys if this time actually is best for everyone. But initially, I want to start with the Friday because I think it's a nice way to wind down the week, possibly. Being educated about plastic surgery. What do you think? But anyway, yes, we'll be back August 15th here to share more and hopefully hear more personal journeys through plastic surgery and educate ourselves. If you are new to this and not true to this, I really want you to subscribe to the YouTubes, follow me on Instagram, hit the notifications, and you should be the first one to hear when we are going live again. As always, love you lots, and bye for now.